Asato ma satkamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. With the prayers, Om, lead us from unreal to real, from darkness to light, from ignorance to wisdom, of knowingness, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaskar, good morning to all of you, and good to be together again. There may be a lot of things happening all around, but you, as the aspiring yogi, as an aspiring Advaita Vedantist, you are separate. And while being in the separate, today's topic is what we're going to talk about is something very beautiful, very powerful. And we are in this samsara. We had talked about on the Thursdays, most of you must have heard of it. If you haven't, look at this. So basically today, if you look carefully, we are all the time thinking, I'm this body, I'm this mind, and I'm this name and form. And from there to the world is absolutely separate. I am separate from you. Who's that? Not this me separate. I'm trying to see that we are not separate and we are one. And you've been noticing we have been talking about selfie for the last 3 occasions we have talked about it. The best selfie that one can take. It is not like the selfie over here that you see a girl, pretty girl, or a handsome boy taking a picture, or a family or something and getting together. That's not the selfie. That is conventionally known. Everybody is wanting to take a very good selfie and such wonderful. When you go to the Google and do the selfie search, it's something very nice and hilarious. What making us separate from? And this is exactly what we have gone through it, and all of you are very expert Vedantists and yogi, is the story of us hypnotization and dehypnotization. We have hypnotized ourselves right from childhood, babyhood. As we're growing up, we've been identified, isolated. How? Let's say a baby, name is Vedanta. And mother wants the baby to know that this is Vedanta, that baby is Vedanta. So mommy comes and smiles and tickles the baby and said, Vedant Kute. And Vedant starts kicking like that, and laughing and smiling. And mommy's so happy. Look, look, everyone, Vedant is smiling. I've already on my journey towards being separated from the world. And in this learning journey, as you know, as the baby is growing up, totally dependent onto the mother, and progressively going into growing up to be 7, 8, 9, 10, already dynamic, and then teenagers, and then going into the adulthood. I'm separate. So This separation is coming in because of something which is called our mind. And today we shall refer to extensively of the Mandakya Upanishad. Mandakya Upanishad, Hanumanji went and asked Rama, how can I attain moksha? And Rama said, Mandakya ekam eval alam. Is one Mandakya alone is good enough for you. Out of 108 all Upanishads, one Mandakya and only 12 sutras. Very small, but it is like the Indian, that small mirchi, bird's eye mirchi, Bengali dhani lonka, very powerful. Mandakya is like that. In the Mandakya Upanishad, we have understood from the first chapter what is Vedanta. And in this Vedanta, essence of Vedanta, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. That's the essence. The truth alone is the Brahman. And this Jagat, so infinite ocean of existence, consciousness, bliss, is this infinite, is one Brahman. And this world is an appearance of that state, the Turiya state, is the appearance of the Turiya state. Turiya state is also the Brahman, and in Dvaitavad and Sankhya philosophy, you call it by your favorite deity, Mother, Krishna, Shiva, or Brahma, or Vishnu, or whatever name you wish to. This seed of duality is there continuously on us. In the second chapter, in the Mandakya, which is called the ultimate truth, the falsity of the world in Mandakya has been projected. And through experience, through realization, which is being told. In the third chapter, it's called, the name of the chapter which we are going to focus today is Advaita Prakarana. The world is an appearance of Turiya, of Brahman, of my mother, my Krishna, my Lord, whichever. We see through the Mandakya that we have basically this, who am I? I am not this body, not this mind, not this form, is what we have learned today. But it's so difficult to understand it. We have, Mandakya goes ahead and tells us, we have 4 stages. By the way, we are not going into Mandakya as the essential. We are going into, I am separate from the rest of the world, which is a part of the essence of the Mandakya is huge. And in which first talks about who's this I? Who am I? So Mandakya goes ahead and tells us we are 4. First is I am in this waking state, like you and me today. Right now, we are listening to each other, we are talking, we can see each other. This is the I, Jagrat, awakened state. In the awakened state, what Gaudapada is Guru's Guru of Sankara. Sankara's Guru is Govindapada. Govindapada's Guru is Gaudapada. About 1500 years ago, Gaudapada says that in the Jagrat state, we see that it is the separation and the essential beginning of the suffering comes from samsara. What is samsara? He goes there and explains this. Many people will say, what's wrong with samsara? Samsara is beautiful, very nice. But samsara includes everything. It is not just your dear and the near one. Samsara includes your lots of money in the bank, no money in the bank. Samsara includes you're doing very well in the profession, not doing very well. Includes perfect relationship, includes not very good relationship. Includes COVID-19, the sicknesses, disease, the aging, the growing old, and then dying away. That's the part of the samsara. People are dying and people are taking birth. Birth and death are continuing. And as we are aging, we suddenly start to realize that I am so and so. There is a nun, a lady, she was going through with her 2, 3 other nuns. They had gone down for shopping, and she was passing through one of the display window, and there was a big mirror. And as she looked at it, and she said, "Oh, who is this old lady?" And the other nuns, they touched her and smiled, and he said, "It is you." He said, "When did I grow old like this?" And this is what is the samsara we are talking about. But the samsara comes from the experience. And look at the world outside. We are looking at the world. How am I experiencing the world? Let's say that little hand, I'm seeing that hand, or a little flower, a rose, or a huge mountain, a beautiful snow-peak Himalayan mountain with millions of monks, glorifying India. They're all there, but how am I seeing? When I see the mountain or the rose doesn't come and enter my eye. I'm experiencing this world. This whole world is not entering my eye. That would be catastrophic. What is happening? The divine creation of the Supreme Almighty. A light reflects on it, comes whether from the mountain or the car or the people, the men, the women, the children, or the rose, or the animals, or the trees, the light enters the cornea, through which it sends off a tiny electrical sparks. Generation goes and connects with the neuron in the brain. And then the neurons make connections. The synapses forms, which in turn is sending a message. And at this point, the Western world today is very advanced, but over here, till today, no one in the world has discovered how do I get a tiny electrical spark or a light signal as a first person experience of a real flower in my mind. And this is being worked upon by the world. We have shared about David Chalmers, Australian Greek, is talking on the lines of the Vedanta mind-brain consciousness unit in New York University. They're doing lots of research, so is in Harvard, and the world over today is trying to find out how does that make the connection. And they said, we have discovered many secrets, we will discover this too, but give me about 20, 30 years more, we need that time. And from there, that light signal goes ahead and gives you the first person feeling. But notice, it depends on the state of my mind. If my mind is very disturbed, I don't even notice the flower. I'm in the same place when another person coming and saying, wow, what a beautiful day. And another person with a bad state of mind, what's so great about it? So the experience is dependent on the state of mind. Now, Gaudapada is going ahead and saying in the 3rd chapter, Advaita Prakarana, that the world is an appearance, and this appearance is dependent on to the state of your mind. In the consciousness, Turiya state, which is the fourth state, is actually not a fourth state. Turiya actually is the one, is the consciousness, Turiya, is through the Jagrat, experiencing the world, through the deep sleep, and through the dream sleep, experiencing the world. But all through are experiences of the Turiya. Turiya is not 1, 2, 3, 4, not roll number 4, roll number 1, 2, 3. All three are through the consciousness of the Turiya. The Turiya alone is the awareness, is the understanding. And that Turiya state is not affected by the mind. Turiya reflects on the mind for the mind to say this is the flower or this is the mountain. Just like the sun's ray comes onto the moon and you see the moonlight and it's a full moon, so beautiful. The mind will not. Example, we are unconscious or anesthetized or we are in coma. Consciousness is very little in coma. Deep sleep, little better. Unconscious and anesthetized, between the two. Can't. In the real world, if I'm disturbed with anger, jealousy, greed, small-mindedness, pettiness, disturbed state of mind, there is sickness at home or a poverty at home or a uncertainty of the job, mind is disturbed, not observing this beautiful world. And it is because of that awareness is the Turiya. But Turiya is ever perfect, ever blissful. Sat, Chit, Ananda, blissful. Sat, existent, consciousness, bliss. But what is this Jagat Mithya? Brahma Satyam, Brahma is Turiya. Satyam is the truth, is the existence. But Jagat is Mithya. Which is this Jagat? Jagat is the appearance through the reflection of the five senses into the brain and through the eye receiving or touch, taste, smell, etc. into the mind. And the mind, if I'm not in an unconscious coma state, is receiving the Turiya light reflection. Awareness is coming into me and I'm aware of the flower, aware of the world. Now it depends on the state of my mind, whether awareness is there, always there, everywhere there. But am I in a ready state? So the famous example, why is Jagat Mithya? Famous example, Vedanta example, the rope appearing as a snake in the darkened alley. The rope is appearing as a snake. Where did the snake come from? The snake is an illusion. It is an appearance. So if that is so, if the snake vanishes, what is there? The moment I throw the light of knowledge or a light of actual flashlight, mobile light, I see the rope. The snake vanishes. So the moment you and I get the knowledge of the Vedanta, of the awareness, the world vanishes. Today, because I am separate from you, I am that wave in the ocean, and I say, I'm doing pretty good. I was a poor, born in a beggar's family. I've studied, I've worked very hard, and I got the support from my teacher. I've studied and gone to the college, did well, and I've become a judge now. I'm doing well. And soon enough comes a time when you're retired and you're drawing pension, and then you say, what did I do? What have I attained in my life? It is only name and some decisions and a little rank and a fame and money, and now drawing pension. Is that it? Or there is something else, much more to that. This is the realization coming to all of us today. And right now, through the Mandakya, we are trying to understand, how do I see this world is an appearance? it is not real. And to do that, we are taking you across that statement of the Gaurapadas, Shankara's Guru's Guru, taking you to state that this samsara is nothing else but duality. Two, I'm separate from you is duality. In the real world, I'm experiencing duality. Everything, everyone, every object, I see it as separate from me. I am this body and the mind. Why? Because I align myself with the body and the mind. I have forgotten who am I. Our journey, and we talk about meditation, meditation, and sacrifice, sacrifice for what? Or those 8 limbs of Patanjali Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, etc. Or go into the Patanjali and Shankara's 15 limbs. All this we've gone through it for what? Towards realization of who am I? And we realize this Dvaita, dualism, is coming from the mind. And Gaudapada goes ahead and gives a beautiful poem in which he explains what is it, what is the status. Let's talk about in the real life duality we are experiencing. What about the dream state, which is the second state of who am I, Mandakya. Dream state, is the duality exist? Yes, it does. My body is on the bed. I am having a separate body. I may be just feeling that and I have another experience of creation with the mind. And I'm experiencing this world. And if I wake up, I just say, oh, that was a dream. So duality exists. What about deep sleep? It's the third state, Susupti. Jagrat, Swapna, Susupti. In Susupti state, am I realizing that I'm two? Apparently not. Apparently not. The note is, my duality goes away, mind becomes peaceful, I have a deep sleep. So whether I'm at Mount Sinai in one of the best hospital in the world in New York, or I'm in one of the good hospital in India, or in a poor hospital, either way, whether I'm suffering, the moment I go on to the deep sleep, my suffering vanishes. King also in deep sleep, beggar also in deep sleep. Sick person in deep sleep, healthy person in deep sleep. A person who is a convict, culprit, and a saint in deep sleep, all have one state, total absence of the duality. Though Gaudapada goes ahead and tells it is not really absolutely, it does stay, samsara stays. How? In a seed form. An explanation, the moment we wake up, immediately that loan in the bank, that sickness in the family, or their relationship problem, or my fights with my colleague or my boss, or my children are not behaving and not listening to me, everything comes back, flooding back. So it was there in the seed form, in the deep sleep. In the Turiya state is absolutely blissful. I am there in the blissful state. Though most people think that staying in the deep sleep is getting away from samsara. Samsara, in other words, is the suffering. Suffering is coming from duality. Duality is coming from I am separate from you. Today we have given this coinage of I am separate from you of today's talk. Our intention is to go beyond that. As a wave in the ocean, I am separate. I'm doing moderately well. I became a judge. This ocean of life. And then we realize, oh, what did I do? As a wave, I realize that I'm really not wave. My Vedanta friend comes and tells me, you monkey Robin Ghosh, you're not a wave, you're water. And I realize I'm water. I'm water inside, water outside, water on top, water at the bottom. And then with the realization, I look at the entire ocean and all the waves. Everything is one water alone. The moment we realize this Turiya state is in the Patanjali through the Samadhi, in the Vedantic way, it become aware. So yogic process, supposing a TV show is disturbing, very scary, yoga says, switch off the TV. Yoga erases samsara from you to attain samadhi. Run off to Himalayas, mountain caves, or ashramas, or isolation. I'm separate. Vedanta संसार को मिटा नहीं देते हैं. Himalayan words of a monk. वेदांत संसार को मिटा नहीं देते हैं. वेदांत संसार में आपको निर्बाध बना देता है. Make you aware of the samsara. You are in the samsara. And that famous example, the milk becoming a curd and curd into butter. Milk can be mixed with the water, but the butter will float in the water. You are in the samsara. Be there like Paramahansa, like Buddha, like Mahavir Jain. Reminds me Buddha when he came back and his wife asked him, 14 years you've been out. Could you have not achieved this status in the staying in the samsara? So Buddha says, now I do. But then I did not. And when I asked everybody, nobody could guide. Today you and I have such wonderful scriptures to know there is a way. And Atma Param Guru and Guru's Guru, the Adi Guru, and all the Gurus, Paramahansa Yogananda, Tishwar Giri, Lahiri Mahasaya, Vivekananda, Divine Mother, Holy Mother, Paramahansa Ramakrishna, and Guru Nanak, Guru Gobind Singh, Guru Mahavir Jain, and Buddha, and everybody, and Jesus Christ, everybody there to guide us through spirituality. You will get the guidance. People tend to go on to the drugs and drinks and sleeping tablets, thinking that deep sleep is the escape. It is not, because sometimes you have to wake up, and when you wake up, there the samsara comes back to you. So Gaurapada is giving a beautiful poem, and he has a point in there. He says, where there is samsara, there is a seed form duality. He goes ahead and gives this beautiful verse. I will read it out to you. Mano duksham nidam dvaitam. Mano drishyam nidam dvaitam. Yat kinchit sacharacharam. Manoho avani bhave dvaitam vai naiva upalaptate. Beautiful term. Manaso avani bhavi. The moment mind becomes no mind, Dvaitam naiva upalaptate. Dvaitam is not realized anymore. You are now water. You see so many gold ornaments, but you know, these are not necklace and bangle and ring, but they're all one gold. You realize we all are one consciousness, one awareness, infinitely everywhere. So Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satyam. Going into the projection of the mind is actually creating the world. I am Robin Ghosh. Projection. I behave like that, act like that. I have likes and dislikes. I have love and hatred. I have those separations. is dualism, dualism, dualism. In a deep sleep state, it does get samadhi state. You are in samadhi, and naturally you have traveled to a great extent of elevation, where in the samadhi you're separately aware that we are one. But when you do wake up, Rishi Jadabharata story, famous story. Jadabharata attained the samadhi state. A deer was shot by a king, and with an arrow, deer came and laid down in front of Jadabharata in the jungle. And he nurtured the deer and got attached to the deer. So much so that from samadhi he became again this. Whereas what you're talking about, samadhi will also come through the awareness, and then you are utilizing Patanjali's samadhi and awareness of the Advaita love. So Dvaita is separation, Advaita is awareness. This dualism separates you from the ultimate truth, which we were coining all these days, the ultimate selfie. The ultimate selfie is realizing, and it's not just a picture like that. That is only the body and the mind and a little smile and a dress or a picture or a mountain, a scenery, temporary. Mumukshatta, mumukshatta, mumukshatta. We have to strive and not give up till we attain that. In non-dualism, foundation to success is coming in, becoming one with Brahman. And that process is the meditation. We will practice today a little bit on that meditation. Basically, I want you to, that dualism, non-dualism, we've taken the help of the Mandakya Upanishad to arrive that no mind state, man ke paar chale jao. That means mind is still there with me, but shuddha manas, chitya shuddha, shuddha manas. That's why we pray every time. The Mother, God, Krishna, Babaji, bless us. Guru, bless us to purify our mind. And to purify are those 8 limbs of Patanjali, attaining samadhi state, which Paramahamsa Yogananda has talked about. I just take 2 Kriya breath and I'm in deep samadhi. He's reached that level. And if this Shariri Lahiri Mahasaya, Lahiri Mahasaya had gone to the bank. Bank said, we'll take a little time. He's gone into samadhi. And the bankers and all had got the money and everything ready, but he's in samadhi. They eventually locked up everything else, couldn't lock up the door. He was still in samadhi. Vivekananda, he would call everybody for a talk. He said, let's start with meditation. And he goes into such deep absorption in samadhi that he forgets everything. And later on, he used to feel very bad. And people will, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, will get up and eventually quietly walk away after an hour or so. And Vivekananda, when he wakes up, he said, everybody's gone. He used to feel very bad. So he told his American disciple that you say this mantra in my ear. If you see I'm in more than 15 minutes, we have limited time. I will come back onto it. So when mind becomes no mind, manaso avani bhave dvaitam naivo upalabdhate. Beautiful verse. This is what our journey. How do I do that? How do I reach that state? These are the 8 limbs which we had talked about in the Ashta Yoga. These are the 15 limbs that we talked about, in which I am not going to go into the explanation. It will take a lot of time. We shall do it separately. But understand, Yama 5, remember, Ahimsa, Satya, Brahmacharya, Ashtya, Parigraha, and Niyama, Saucha, Santosha, etc. There are 5 plus 5. These two are essential. Both have to be. Along with that, you come with the separate, Shankaracharya brings in Tyaga, renunciation, sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. Why living there? Is it really required? It will come as a kind of a form. You don't have to. Vivekananda uh, heard somebody, and this is being written down, asking Paramahamsa Ramakrishna, now that I have taken Diksha, should I give up meat and fish and chicken and all that? The Paramahamsa Ramakrishna said, why? What I have taught you is less powerful than chicken and meat and fish. He said, when the time is right, you will automatically see that meat and fish and chicken will leave you and run away from you. You will not feel like having. Then Tyaga Maunam, observing silence. Many great saints, Gandhiji used to observe one day, Swami Ranganathananda, one of the president, he used to maintain Thursday on a week absolute silence. Then Desha, place, Kala, Samay, we have got them. Then Asana, we have got them. And your Mula Bandha. We'll explain to this Mula Bandha. It is a particular construction of a muscle during this. And Deha Samyalam. Going into Drishtiti, fixation of eyes. It is with the eyes closed, but fixation, either there or here. Over here, Yukta Shudgiri in autobiography is telling Paramahansa Yogananda, be careful, don't get cross-eyed. And going into Prana Samyalanam, this is the pranayam, and then Pratyahara Dharana Dhyanam. Atma Dhyanam is getting into that absolute absorption state into Samadhi. Going into this non-violent state and those, the 8 limbs. Gandhiji was following this process in his ashrama. And ahimsa everybody understood. And they thought it was a strategy Gandhi was using against the British. Because British is too strong, we cannot fire bullets and win. That's why Gandhiji. But Gandhiji was utilizing ancient yogic Vedantic process. And he used to tell everybody to follow all in which there was also brahmacharya in the niyama. And there were a lot of married politicians and all that. And they were saying, what is this? Why is it required? They were trying to rebel. And there is a letter by Gandhiji in which Gandhi is saying, I wish they only realize it, they are the ashramites, that you cannot do only one thing like ahimsa. If you tell lies, you cannot observe ahimsa. You have to tell truth too. Satya Pratishtha is equally important. So all of those processes, not just Ayama, Niyama, all the 8 limbs and all the 15, in our process to take it up is very important. And today, if you look at the West is showing today, Western world, and most of the Indian today following on that track, is acquiring more and more. I want more, I want more, I want more. India, on the other hand, for thousands of years have showed how little we need. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. Buddha became the greatest human being ever lived on this earth, as it is claimed by many great saints and masters. He sacrificed his kingdom, his family, 1-year-old son, sacrificed everything. That understanding. And then I would like you to establish this, which is a very important part of the first step of Advaita Vedanta, in which you do Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, in which the first discipline is talked about Viveka, understanding and separating real from not real, and leaving real behind, holding on to leaving unreal behind and holding on to real. And this is called Vairag. So this sadhana chatushta, Viveka, Vairaga. This is how Vivekananda was given name, Vivekananda. And then Shama is calmness of mind. Automatically it will come. Disturbed mind will come. We'll get into a little bit of practice today. You will see how beautiful the result is. And then Dhamma. Dhamma is controlling. Uparati, instead of senses, Rati is going outwards, Uparati is bringing it inwards. All the five senses are taking us to the world outside and bringing the world and bombarding our mind, and mind is becoming restless, restless, restless. Uparati, Titiksha, not giving up. I am not understanding now whether it is Vedanta or what the teacher is teaching or German or mathematics, but I'm going to persevere. I've gone to Harvard, it's a Greek college, I cannot understand. They're talking at a different level, but I'm going to not give up. I'm going to stick on. Titiksha, Samadhana, study more, practice more, Vedanta, read the scriptures, and read your Swadhyaya, read your own mind through the meditation. And Shraddha, respect. Without respect, you cannot learn anything. If I have no respect on my maths teacher or German teacher or the cricket player, the coach, how will I? There was a boy he was very restless. So I told the father, you take him to the golf course. He will learn to be knowing how to become still and how to control. One of the Olympic rifle shooter is sharing. He said, we do not realize how much we keep moving all the time. When you become a bow and arrow or a rifle shooter or pistol shooter, then you realize, then you have to do pranayam, hold your breath, and absolute still, because one tiny movement, several feet away, the bow, the arrow, or the bullet will go away. And similarly, this boy, he became very good. He's playing in the world today. He's only now 15 and a half. It's a world tournament of a young boy doing it. He started with the same thing. Initially, he was very restless. Progressively, he realized. So this understanding, controlling from the restlessness, coming into holding on, Shraddha. You know what was the problem initially for this boy? Why I brought about this? Because initially he said, I know everything. And he wouldn't listen to the coach. The coach says, I refuse to teach you. So the father came back with him and he said, sir, he doesn't want to go anymore. I said, why? He said, coach refuses to teach him. I said, why? What happened? He told the coach, the boy told the coach, I know everything. You don't have to teach me. Naturally, coach refuses to talk. No Shraddha. And I spoke to the boy, spoke to the father, spoke to the coach. And from there, he's becoming a world player today. And from Shraddha got Mumukshatta, not giving up. Now, Tapaha is on the Niyama. You got Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaha. This Tapa, I've taken the famous idol in everybody's home. We have the Buddha. There are three things which in Vedanta, Shankaracharya, Vivekananda insists on it in his Raja Yoga. He's talking about three things. One is sit still. When you go for the meditation, being able to sit still, no movement. Just tell yourself, no movement, no movement, no movement. You might find it difficult initially, but you will find suddenly something will happen. And those of you, I know many of you are doing beautiful long hours of meditation. They will tell you, whole body feels as if you're covered with a wet, cool, soothing, blissful blanket. Kind of a wet, cool, blissful, soothing. You can't move. You want to move, but you can't move. And the second is the breath. Ancient India, thousands of years, rishis found out that breath, you can hold on. Mind you can't. Mind is restless. But through the breath, you can become still in the body and still in the mind. So pay attention to the breath. We will do a short practice of about 10 minutes. And then drishti. You remember just how we covered about in 15, drishtiti, drishti, keeping the eyes fixed at the tip of the nose or the bridge, wherever you're comfortable with. Going into this status, let us sit straight and we will practice. Take postures right, being still, dhyana mudra or jnana mudra. We will be closing the eyes. Before that, remember there is a counting going to come. This counting is to fix the awareness onto the mind and the breath. To fix. This is the Advaita Vedanta meditation, which we are going to practice. And then we practice it on our own, in which the counting comes in. If you are not utilizing this ancient master's trick, you will see you have to count to 10. Those of you already doing Hamsa and Omkar meditation and Kriya Yoga, you're pretty good about this counting. Still, there are many maybe not initiated. So from here, this is 1. The thumb pressing against the forefinger is 1. Over here, like this, right over left. The forefinger pressing against the thumb is 2. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Today's sessions, we'll do only up to 10 and you repeat that 10. Okay? Now, sit comfortably. Take your breath. Normal breath. No long, forcible breath. No forcible breathe out. No forcible breathe in. Every time you breathe in energy, healing, power, truth, calmness, peace, harmony, joy, love for everyone, oneness of awareness. And every time you breathe out, movement, suffering, sickness, disease, poverty, small-mindedness, pettiness, dependency onto the other people, breathe it out. Breathe in all the good thing, breathe out all the bad thing. Let's close our eyes. Sit comfortably. Start to breathe in. Breathing in, feeling the coolness at the tip of the nose. Not forcible breathing, gentle, normal breathing. As I breathe out, I feel the warmth at the tip of the nose. Breathing in, coolness at the tip of the nose. I'm not following my breath. Just the coolness of the awareness of the consciousness. Breathing out the warmth at the tip of the nose. Let's practice 2-3 times. Now, as you breathe in, count 1 in your mind and feel the coolness, fixing the awareness onto the breath and the mind. As you breathe out, count 2. Next, breathe in, count 3. Next, breathe out, count 4. Breathing in, count 5. Breathing out, count 6. And like that, continue till 10. Vedantic meditation. Become aware and conscious of the coolness at the tip and the warmth at the tip. I'm aware of my awareness, not watching the breath. From awareness of the breath, now shift to listen to a sound inside where you're sitting. Maybe a sound from outside, maybe rhythmic sound inside of a fridge or an air condition. Listen. Listen to the rhythmic pulse of the sound. Become aware of the beginning of the sound and end of the sound. Become aware of your body. Annamaya kosha. Become aware of the place you're sitting, the chair, the ground, feeling the firm position of the feet, ground. Become aware, pranamaya kosha, of the breath. Become aware of manomaya kosha, your thoughts. Become aware of the thoughts getting illuminated as vritti by the awareness, consciousness. The vritti like a bubble coming into the mind lake, and the bubble getting lit by the consciousness for me to be aware. Not thinking about what the thought is, just lighting up the vritti with the awareness. Not thinking about if it is coffee vritti, thinking about coffee, but not thinking about the drinking and follow-up action, but thinking about just the vritti, coffee vritti. Become aware of your feelings, love, likes, dislikes. Become aware of happiness, joy, ananda. Light it with the awareness, even if it is fleeting. Become aware of the light, Saprabha, all around you, especially around the Sahasrabhara and around my body. Only the light of awareness and the consciousness. Thoughts may come, thoughts will go. Changes come, age takes place, seasons come and go, time comes and goes, years come and go. Beginning of sickness comes, end of sickness comes. I, the awareness, am constant. I am the awareness, not the body, not the thoughts, nor the feelings. I am everywhere. I am infinite, focusing on that light.
It's 12 o'clock.
Take 3 long breaths. First, look down at your palm and then open your eyes. Rub your palm. Bring in energy into the palm of healing, of love, of helping. of kindness, of giving, of sharing, sent to all of them who need, who are suffering, who may be ignorant and don't know they're suffering. Maybe not just money or sickness, but suffering from ignorance of not being aware. Send the energy to everyone. I send to all, each one of you, with the blessings of Babaji, Krishna, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Divine Mother, Paramahansa Yogananda, Teshwar Giri Lai Masa, blesses you, Swami Sri Vivekananda, Holy Mother Sharada, Paramahansa Ramakrishna, all the gods and gurus of all religion and gurus of the universe and of all practices. The Adi Guru, Ekam Advaitam Brahman. Say after me silently or loudly, I leave it to you. Om. 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 Jai Guru. So, it's good to see all of you, and my namaskar and pranam to all of you, and good to see you. Do go ahead if you have any questions, please ask. Get me back into the screen. It's wonderful to see you all, and if there are no suggestions, no comments, no questions, I will end it with a small story. And this is the story of Janak Maharaj. He was a Maharshi and also an emperor. He was woken up from his sleep rudely by this leader of the soldier. Maharaj, Maharaj, wake up, come quickly, dress up your clothes. The kingdom is attacked by the neighboring king. The Maharaj says, call all my generals and the army, line them up quickly, and they start up, and he dresses up quickly and all with the weapons and goes to the war. A terrible battle takes place, and unfortunately Janak Maharaj loses. He's wounded, bleeding, and defeated. And the neighboring king says, now you have lost, this kingdom is mine, your children, family, wife, your people, everybody is mine now. I should kill you, but I will not, because you are from a noble blood. I will let you live, but you have to immediately leave this kingdom. Nobody is allowed to give you any water or food. So Janak Maharaj walks and tired. Nobody's giving him water and food. His own kingdom's people, they're scared. They will kill him. The king's soldiers, they're following behind the king. King eventually, after 2 days of walk, crosses to the other side into a friendly country. Tired, didn't have anything to drink, any food to eat, and he sees somebody is giving a little Annakshetra. It's called in Himalayas, Uttaranchal. Taplial Saab will tell you. It's called Annakshetra. Anybody can go and get the food. And there was a long queue. Janak Maharaj goes and stands in the queue. And when his time comes up, and that man who was distributing, he says, finished, everything is finished. Janak Maharaj so tired and he really broken down. Looking at his state, that man who was giving, he said, listen, there is a little bit of gruel lying at the bottom. I'll scrape it out. And he gives him in a leaf, that plate, puts it, and he said, here, take it. The Maharaj takes it with a trembling hand. And as he is going to put it into his mouth, a kite from the sky comes and sits on top of it and throws it out of his hand. Kite was trying to grab it. And it falls onto the ground and the food goes spoiled and Maharaj couldn't take it anymore. And he said, why me, why me, why me? And he's rolling on the dust with his tears, frustrated, broken down, a great Maharshi, Janak Maharaj. And suddenly he's woken up. Soldier is saying, Maharaj, Maharaj, you called me? This was all dream. He was dreaming. He wakes up, he comes out of his slumber, he's dazed. So vivid was the dream. He looks at the soldier. Soldier says, sir, did you ask for anything? Do you want anything? Maharaj says, ye such, wo such. He's a great philosopher. He's a Maharshi. Instead of saying, thank God it was only a dream, he said, is this true or that is true? And anybody comes, queen comes, Maharaj, what has happened? Maharaj says, ye such, wo such. Goes to the next day for his running the kingdom. In the throne he sits. Anybody asks, Maharaj, you have to sign this. The work is to get along. He looks dazedly and says, yes, such, wo such. Words get around. I'll cut it short. Ashtavakra Muni, guru of Janak Maharshi, comes to know. He says, okay, let me go and meet Maharaj. He comes and he asks, Maharaj, how are you? Aap kaise ho? Maharaj asks the same, ye such, wo such. Now, Ashtavakra Muni, great sage. Those of you, by the way, read that Ashtavakra Gita, a very famous Advaita book. Beautiful. I'll share with you sometime. Ashtavakra knows everything what has happened. So he tells Janak Maharaj, Maharaj, when you were rolling on the ground, defeated by the people, food is gone spoiling, was there all these kingdom, queen, generals, were they there? He said, no. He said, now that you are here, sitting in your throne with the generals and your queen and people and everybody waiting to you to run the kingdom, was that suffering, no food and defeat, is that there now? He said, no. So Ashtavakra Muni says, Maharaj, na wo sach, na ye sach. The dazed Janak Maharshi looks at his guru and says, that means nothing is true. Kuch bhi sach nahi hai. वो भी नहीं सच, ये भी नहीं सच. Ashtavakra Muni says, not really. Tell me, when you were defeated and you didn't get your food and you were tired and sick, were you there? He said, yes, I was there. He said, are you here now? Is that you here also now? He said, yes, I am here. He said, tum hi sach, only you are true. So notice that is what we did today. The essential truth is the awareness, is the consciousness. It's not the mind. Manaso avani bhave dvaitam naiva upalabdhate. Upalabdhi. He doesn't say that you will not experience dualism. You will continue to live in the family, in the samsara, see the dualism, experience the dualism. But upalabdha is not experience. Upalabdha is knowingness. You will know that you are all by yourself. Jai Guru. Akasha Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Vayu Shanti, Jalaspataya Shanti, Agnyaya Shanti, Gaur Shanti, Manaha Shanti, Chittaha Shanti, Om Uttaradisha Shanti, Dakshinaya Shanti, Paschimaya Shanti, Purvadisha Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the Divine Mother bless us with the realization of the infinite ocean of existence, consciousness, bliss. Alone is true. This world is an appearance of Turiya, of consciousness, of our divine gurus, divine mother, divine gods and goddesses. Check.